But we're going to start with the Orange Bowl between Penn State and Notre Dame. And we're just going to go through really what I like about each side. I think that's the easiest way to do this. Currently, Notre Dame is favored by 1.5 points. And let's see. Our money line here, you can get let's say an even 100. You can get a plus 105 on Penn State, etc. As far as the total is 45, there's a 44.5 out there. There is a 45.5 out there. So you can get either side of that key number right now if you want. But let's dive into it. Let's take a look at what we got. My stats on the season have got Penn State favored by 3.13. And that's not just stats, but that's stats and power rating. My power rating, as you see, has got Notre Dame by a little over 4 points on a neutral, which is where we are. However, the stats are so heavily skewed towards Penn State that it actually has Penn State favored by 3.13. Based on the last 4 weeks of stats, it would have Penn State favored by 8, which is really, really high variance. I mean, this is based on the last 4 ball games. I found that kind of surprising, but, Notre Dame had a relatively close game with Georgia. The final score ended up being relatively close with Indiana. USC was a close game for Notre Dame. I mean, there was all kind of different stuff here. Penn State blew out Maryland, blew out SMU, kind of blew out Boise, is what it is. All right, so let's look when Penn State has the ball on offense. Let's see. All right, so they've got a pretty dynamic passing attack, right? Drew Allar is number 8 in QBR, as you can see right there. Now, Notre Dame's defense is number 1 in that. But if you look at who Notre Dame has played, haven't exactly played some top-tier quarterbacks. They had to play Gunnar Stockton, the backup for Georgia, just last week. They did play Curtis Rourke, again, with Indiana, not the most talented team. Speaking of talent, we've got Penn State number 11 and 247 talent composite. We have got Notre Dame number 10. So we're pretty close there. These two teams are pretty similar. Penn State's numbers would tell you that they are not explosive. Number 75 in passing explosiveness, number 80 in rushing explosiveness. But they are top 10 in rushing success rate, number 24 in passing success rate, and they're number 12 in yards per pass attempt, which means that Drew Allar's ADOT is pretty out there. Their top 3 wide receivers average over 15 yards per catch. So while they don't have a ton of explosive plays, I still think that they have more explosive potential than what Notre Dame has. I'll say that. The Notre Dame defense is pretty good against the run, but if you start looking at some of these numbers, Penn State number 14 in offensive line yards, number 31 in stuff rate allowed. Notre Dame's defense number 49 in offensive line yards allowed, number 91 in stuff rate. You start looking at standard downs, etc., and that's basically 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, or 2nd and 5, something like that, 3rd and 3, all that standard, right, where you have everything available to you. Notre Dame's defense number 2 in predicted points added allowed, number 8 in standard down success. Penn State is number 6 in standard down success. Penn State can stay ahead of the chains, especially with Allen and Singleton coming out of the backfield. Number 5 in offensive success rate for Penn State. Number 8 for Notre Dame. You look at Notre Dame's schedule. I mean, there's just nobody on there that can throw the football. So, yeah, if you have even an average secondary, even an average pass defense, then you're okay. Havoc rate, Notre Dame, number 34. Penn State is number 3 in havoc allowed. So I don't think that Notre Dame is going to be able to get to Drew Allar on this. On the other side of the ball, Penn State, not great at throwing the football. They're number 41 in QBR, but number 78 in yards per pass attempt. That ain't great. They're number 61 in predicted points added per pass. That is not how they get things done. Just not even close. When they are put in a passing down situation, 3rd and long, something like that, for those that don't know, they're number 70 in passing down success rate, 31%. Penn State is number 33 in passing down success allowed. Penn State is pretty good against the pass. Where this game is going to be won is whether or not Notre Dame can run the football. Notre Dame is number 2 in predicted points added per rush. They're number 3 in yards per rush. They are number 2 in rushing explosiveness, but they're number 24 in offensive line yards and number 29 in stuff rate allowed. That's not great, especially against this schedule. But you look at Penn State, number 3 in offensive line yards allowed, number 1 in stuff rate. They are number 7 in PPA allowed per rush, and they are number 11 in yards allowed per rush. They're really good. That's just what they are very good at defending the one thing that Notre Dame does well on offense. So if Notre Dame can't throw the football and they can't run the football, I don't know how they're going to score. They are number 101 in special teams efficiency. Notre Dame is. Penn State is number 70. The punt or the kick return for a touchdown against Georgia last week was the only kick or punt return for a touchdown for Notre Dame this entire season. I don't expect them to be able to replicate that. Obviously, we'll see. As far as interceptions per pass, Penn State's defense is number 10 in interceptions. Well, Notre Dame doesn't throw interceptions. Penn State not great at getting fumbles when they're on defense. Notre Dame is number 61 in fumbles per rush, or fumbles lost per rush. So not a huge advantage there either. When you look at 5 factors plus talent, that's all the efficiency numbers, right? So 5 factors include, it's the 5 factors that will win you a ball game more times than not. And that is efficiency, explosiveness, field position, finishing drives, and turnovers. That's your 5 factors. Notre Dame is number 1 in the country in 5 factors plus talent. Penn State is number 4. Pretty interesting. So I think that when you look at schedule strength, Notre Dame is number 31, Penn State is number 17. We have seen Penn State against more teams like Notre Dame. Although they haven't exactly played a mobile quarterback this year, that could be a bit of an issue. We'll see exactly what kind of success Riley Leonard has. But when it comes down to it, this thing was all the way up at Notre Dame minus 2.5. I thought it might get to 3 because it kept moving that direction. Today, there's been a lot of buyback on Penn State. I'm on the Penn State side. I'm going to take Penn State plus the 1.5. I think they win the game outright, and you can get a plus 105 money line. Penn State is a good football team. I don't think Notre Dame has had to prove it the same way that Penn State has throughout the season. Granted, Penn State has had a pretty easy schedule as well for Big Ten standards, but still, they're number 17 in current strength of schedule. They've handled their business. I will take Penn State to win that game outright. Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Make sure and follow me on Twitter at GaryWCE. If you want to toss in a question, you can email me, Gary@winningcureseverything.com. Make sure and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.